And here we are. Welcome, my name is Ike, this is Switzerland.playit, with TAGN, the Angry Game News, every day, Monday through Friday, 10 AM Eastern, US Eastern that is. I speak about and talk about games, video games, the hardware news and all that stuff, movies sometimes and shows, and try to bring interesting talking point to you, the viewer there. Ahoy ever Eden, she was the first, as she is usually the first since the last 2 weeks, more or less. And anybody else who is coming in, I welcome you already. I hope you have a good day already. I hope your day started fine, because I'm gonna make it miserable with the news. No, let's start with some more goodish news than baddish. Good news are better than bad news, right? Let me make it a little bit bigger for everybody here. Summer Games done quick raises more than $2.4 million for charity during annual speedrun event. That's a lot of money. And it's not even a long time. The event was about a week. Summer Games Done Quick 2025 this year, weeks long, 24-hour speedrun marathon ended yesterday after raising more than $2.4 million for charity. This year, over 2,600 attendees gathered at the Hilton Minneapolis in Minnesota from July 6th through July 13th to watch speedrunners blaze through games like Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Baltro, Super Mario Maker 2, Blueprints, Mario Kart World, Beat Saber, AEW, Fight Forever, and more. Those 2,600 attendees, alongside the thousands of others who tuned in to watch on the SDGQ Twitch channel, raised $2.4 million for Doctors Without Borders, which cares for people affected by conflict, disease, outbreaks, natural and human-made disasters, and exclusion from healthcare in more than 70 countries. This year's event featured the new Arist LA, don't know what that is, where artists and craftspeople sold products and more at the booth, a live concert by the band The Megas, and more. So yeah, that's good news. That's a lot of money for a week event with marathons on a Twitch channel. Who says gamers can't do good for the world? Doctors Without Borders, usually a good cause, in my opinion. But that's just me, I guess. That is interesting. The game I don't like, but it is what it is. RimWorld is not a game for me, but it has fucking success. After gaining players for 7 years, sci-fi colony builder RimWorld hits a new Steam record nearing 100,000 concurrents thanks to an expansion so big it probably could have been a new game. If you like committing atrocities to the Sims and you're tired of twiddling your thumbs waiting for a new one to come out, you're in luck. RimWorld, a 2D colony simulation and survival game that just about any laptop can run, has just hit a peak concurrent player count 7 years after it launched. All thanks to a new expansion that's so big it could have been a sequel. The new expansion, or DLC, how we call it these days, is Odyssey. And I just find it interesting that this game was released 7 years ago and it's going upwards since the release. It never went like downwards and didn't really lose players, but just gained players over those 7 years. And we can check just the SteamDB here, steamdb.info for the game. You see, 2017, early 2017, it was like the real release. I think it was. Is it still in early access though? It doesn't matter. The point is, it was released and it gained momentum every time, a little bit more than every time when a DLC was released. It got like a big bump and then it got back, but not back to the old state, back a little bit down. in that sense, but it kept going upwards, 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 and then a new DLC came along, and it just was raising the whole time. And with this newest DLC, it almost reached 100k concurrent players, which is pretty crazy to think of such a game, which looks awkward to me. But if you like to build colonies, if you like to harvest human beings' organs to sell them and to make your colony bigger and all that, I think that's the game for you. And this new DLC supposedly has the same amount of planets and areas to conquer and to explore and all that than the base game itself, which is pretty amazing. Don't like the game, but many people seem to enjoy it, and good for the publisher and the developer. What might be not super good for anybody who is fan of the Resident Evil series is this news. Oi Godzilla. If you are employed on RimWorld, does that mean you have a Rim job? No, but I call the game usually Rim Job World. So you are not new in that word game. Resident Evil movie director says he's expecting online hate. And here's why. The director of the upcoming Resident Evil movie has discussed his vision for the adaptation, including plans to shift away from the source material in some ways, even if it upsets some fans. In the new issue of SFX magazine via Games Radar, Zach Greger, or I don't know, said he isn't aiming to be completely obedient to the lore of the games with the film. He didn't elaborate on the specifics of what changes he might make, but Greger said he isn't planning to break any major rules of the franchise. He also assured fans that he is a gigantic Resident Evil game fan, adding that he has played every entry in the series and has a specific fondness for Resident Evil 4. He said he can't even count the number of times he's played that game. Mike Greger. Instead of being obedient the game's lore, Greger said he is aiming to tell a story that just feels authentic to the experience you get when you play the games. While Greger is clearly a fan of Resident Evil, of the Resident Evil franchise, and wants to tell an authentic story, he understands that no matter what I do, people are going to come for me online. If you do a good job, no, they will not come for you, and not with hate, how you called it, but with love, pretty much. If you don't break like the game franchise in general. And yeah, I'm not so sure if I'm okay what I read so far with this guy. Greger previously directed 2022's horror movie hit Barbarian, which was his own original idea. Following the success of that movie, Greger is coming back with another original movie, Weapons, which releases in August, starring Julia Garner and Josh Brolin. Resident Evil is based on Capcom's franchise and represents Greger's first adaptation of a major franchise. Barbarian wasn't Greger's first movie though, as he and his late whitest kids you know troupe member Trevor Moore directed the poorly received sex comedy Miss March in 2009. Yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't do like some abomination like the Netflix series Resident Evil, he might be good. The old movies with Mila are okay in general. They actually stick pretty well to the main story, to the main content, the main lore of the games. How well they are executed, that's a different question for everybody. Hot Take 4 is one of my least favorite. The original 3, my favorite. Also enjoyed 5. The rest I could care less about. 3 was lame. Lamer than the second one. at least. I want an Xbox SNES. Ahoy, haste. You're not gonna get an Xbox SNES. I guess that will never happen. Microsoft and Nintendo are not that big of fans of each other. If you're a fan of Sony, you might want this now. You can get it again. PS5 30th anniversary console gets a limited restock in September. So if you don't remember, there was like a few months ago, this 30th anniversary edition of the PS5, which looks neat, but other than visuals, it has nothing in additions. It's just the same with different colors. But it gets a restock, and yeah. Sony has announced it'll be restocking the 30th anniversary editions of the base PS5 system, PS5 DualSense controller, and the PS Portals this September. Limited supplies will be available from 29th September, and pre-orders will go live once again later this month on 23rd July, exclusively on PlayStation Direct website. If you're a PS Plus member, you can pre-order 2 days earlier from 21st July. Yeah, if you're a big fanboy and you want those colors, that is your second chance, pretty much. I couldn't care less, especially it's only the digital version of the PS5, so no disk drive in this one, which I don't get it at all. If you make it like a limited edition and the restock again, why don't you give the people also the disc version? I know why, because it would be more expensive if something happens to the warranty. You need to find like the same thing again to replace it, or give the people more money when it's not in stock anymore and all that. Yeah, the refunds are going to be a nightmare probably. That might be one reason at least. I have the white PS everything already. I mean, the normal PS5 is white, so what are you telling me here? They can upsell the drive as a separate add-on. Sure. But yeah, there's your second chance. If you are such a big of a PlayStation fanboy. I'm not a fan of Call of Duty at all, but I think it's worth just mentioning it, and we're gonna move on after this little mentioning. Black Ops 7 next reel is set for August Gamescom opening night live. So it's gonna be on August 19th. The game's next coming out party will take place during Gamescom opening night live, which is set for Tuesday, August 19th. Black Ops 7 will simply be part of the show's lineup. The showcase itself will be streamed live at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK. So if you're still in Call of Duty, I guess this news is good news for you. I just thought I have to report on stuff I also don't care and like. I'm not buying another PS5 Pro. It's not even the Pro. I don't think it's... No, it's just a regular. I'm pretty sure it's just an absolute regular digital edition. And down in the video description, the links. You see the prices here. But yeah, if somebody wants it, somebody wants it. You know what I don't want? That the government wastes money. But the government likes to waste your fucking money. That's how it's done. FBI says it's now seized multiple ROM piracy sites. Claims downloads resulted in $170 million losses in just 3 months. Trust me, bro. Those numbers. Trust me, bro. I reported on this website this NSWU2 seizure. Yeah, seizure. And yeah, they supposedly had even more in petto in the background, seized and closed and all that. Following the Federal Bureau of Investigation's widely reported seizure of pirate ROM sites nswu2.com last week, the US government agency has confirmed the move was part of an operation that impacted multiple targets. In a statement shared on its website, the FBI announced the seizure of the several online criminal marketplaces that it said had, for more than 4 years, provided access to pirated copies of highly anticipated video games days or weeks before their official release date. I have to stop them right there. I think that's a lot of BS. Ahoy, ball of tennis. Especially in these days where games are more and more tied to one of those bigger online stores, online libraries. And those libraries usually don't give you the data right away, especially not decrypted data, meaning if they give you like the pre-download 24 hours, 48 hours earlier than the official release, or even a week, doesn't matter. Those data are like encrypted usually. And you can't do anything with it because usually they need also like an online authorization from the store. Be it Steam, be it EA, whatever, be it Microsoft, Xbox, be it Epic. It's not working like they are trying to tell us here, really. A few games for sure have like just, give out the game and make it playable from that date by updating only the executable file, They may make it this way happen, but how they make it sound here, like all the games who are published and then you get like a pre-release, you can play it already. Those times are gone, long gone. Those times are long gone. I'm glad I have all the ROMs and the ISOs I could have want already. And I have my sources. I'm not going to tell anybody where my sources are, but I have my sources and I know how to find them again if I really need them. News sources. It also claimed that the website had seen cumulative downloads of 3.2 million in just 3 months this year, from 28 February and 28 May, resulting in an estimated loss of 170 million US dollars. That's the other big BS part, which Haste already mentioned in the chat. Chat, by the way, on Rumble, mainly. A lot of action there. It's like this old Sony excuse, the old Sony argument. Every download is a loss. No. You are being just a cocksucker in that sense, really. I hate you for even putting it on the same fucking level. It's not the same. Every download is not a loss in sales. That's absolutely bollocks. That's nonsense. That's bullshit. That's absolutely dog crap. I download a lot. I am not telling you what I download. I download a lot, but 95% of what I download, I would never buy anyway. The download actually helps me to decide, should I buy it now, more than anything else. So the old Sony argument, it is the old Sony argument, because some people might remember this old story about this 9-year-old girl who downloaded music files. And by the way, South Park made a great episode about that. And she was on a sharing platform, so she downloaded those songs, but also the system, the app, uploaded it to other people. And she didn't pay attention to how many people that really was uploaded and all that. And Sony then counted every upload from her system as a loss and damage for the company, also in reputation and all that. And she had to pay, like, I mean, she has no money. She's a 9-year-old girl back then. They claimed like millions and millions upon losses because of that girl spreading out those few songs, which is insanity. So maybe you lost a little bit something by some people who were like, oh yeah, cool, I download now this 30-year-old ROM file who Nintendo doesn't produce anymore on cartridge anyway, but now maybe Nintendo wants the money and all that because of the emulation on their system and all that crap, on the newer systems. Oi brew. So this whole fucking argument about losses never sticks with me and never will stick with me because I know you're full of it. So there goes your taxpayer, your tax money to the lying FBI. On top of the NSWU2's closure, the FBI says its investigation performed with the assistance of the Fiscal Information and Investigation Service in the Netherlands had additionally resulted in authorization to seize the domain of multiple other sites, which includes nswdl.com, game-2u.com, binggame.com, ps4pkg.com, ps4pkg.net, and mgnnetu.com. These domains hosted and facilitated access to the pirated video games, it continued. Anyone visiting these sites will now view a seizure banner that notifies them the domain has been seized by federal authorities. The FBI's operation is just the latest move in an ongoing crackdown against video game piracy. Earlier this year, Nintendo won a legal battle against French file-sharing company DStorage, meaning European file-sharing companies must now remove illegal copies of games when asked to do so. I think that was already the case if they were asked to. They already had to remove illegal files. Game journalists. It also successfully shut down Switch emulator Yuzu last year after claiming the software facilitated piracy at a colossal scale. And it comes all mainly from Nintendo. I still don't know why Nintendo is so successful and so tied in with the government agencies here. Weird. COV 1337X. Yeah, this website is dog shit though. I don't like that. It rarely works well, and those files there are often outdated. Especially when it comes to games not released on current hardware. Yes, they lose nothing there. And most sites have the DMCA form to remove content. I mean, if it's like a really ROM website, they don't care. Why should they have DMCA? They all know it's not official. So why bother putting such a DMCA form in the first place? But yes, that's like that try to save ass and face, pretty much. But yeah, there you have it, man. Your FBI, they have money and time to go after ROM websites, which is silly, but hey, Epstein did really kill himself, by the way. Case closed. So for that, I saw that yesterday. Many memes on side scrollers. FBI has for that time and money, but for the Epstein stuff, yeah, you're still talking about that. I can't believe it, man. I'm on the side of Trump now. Save face and ass, yes. So it's just weird to me how they go so hard against ROM websites. But yeah. I mean, Nintendo especially releasing GameCube game now on the Switch 2, a little bit updated, better frame rate and all that stuff. I mean, it's fine if you protect your IPs. I have nothing against that crap, really. It is important not to just lose track of all your stuff, right? It's your intellectual property. It's your ideas out there, and you should get a little bit something out of those ideas. But for how long? That's the real question. And can you just put people in prison for a system that is so outdated that you don't really release them anymore on those original hardware anyway? So why you do that? Only Nintendo knows. FBI pedophiles, okay, ROMs illegal. Priorities, it's just priorities. It's just priorities. It's weird priorities, in my opinion. Another priority, John Wick is gone. The only official John Wick video game is being pulled from all platforms 6 years after release. The only officially licensed John Wick video game is being removed from sale just 6 years after launch. BitHell Games well-received John Wick's Hex, launched in October 2019. It's a fast-paced, action-oriented strategy game that makes you think and strike like John Wick. John Wick, of course, is the hugely popular action hero made famous by Keanu Reeves. Fast forward 6 years, and John Wick Hex is set for the digital scrap heap. In an update directed at the game's community, publisher Big Fan Games, which is part of Devolver Digital, said John Wick Hex will be removed from sale on all platforms beginning July 17th. After July 17th, existing owners of John Wick Hex will still be able to access the game via their digital libraries across PC and console. And of course, physical copies will continue to work on console. However, new purchases on John Wick Hex will not be possible regardless of platform or storefront. Yada yada, and so on and so on. They gave us a little bit more information about older games. They were pulled, and I have one which I liked still, and I have it, I think, on Steam. Spec Ops: The Line, good game. But yeah, and the reason why it might be pulled, especially because the license has run out, and probably because of the music included. So I didn't even know that John Wick had a game, to be honest. Thank you for the buck. Leave my ROMs alone, says Brew. Yeah, I mean, I have all the ROMs I need. I have downloaded, for example, just as a backup, man. I'm not using it, I promise. PS1, PlayStation 2, and Dreamcast. Dreamcast library, not super big, but I think it's important, especially Dreamcast, because it didn't run long, right? Keep an eye on Dreamcast stuff to keep it alive. Yeah, and speaking of John Wick, I just recently rewatched the Continental, which is the Amazon mini series, mini show. But every episode, three episodes, is as long as a whole movie, so which is weird. It has kind of a lot of woke in it, but also it's pretty neatly done. Go check it out if you want. I can recommend it, watching at least once. Continental Amazon. News for hardware. Not a lot of information here, but I just find it important to point it out. The 8BitDo Pro 3 was just announced with swappable buttons, sticks, and a charging dock. 8BitDo has announced a following up its very popular 8BitDo Pro 2 controller. It's called the 8-Bit Pro 3, and the only thing it retains is its symmetrical design with a bunch of huge improvements across the board. And here you see it, like how you can remove the buttons. They are just attached with a magnet. I hope it's a good magnet. And there's another stronger magnet to remove them. I can only assume. And here you see like the sticks, which is kind of neat looking. Not very practical, I think, as thumbsticks, like having arcade, smaller, shorter arcade sticks on both sides. It just looks really nice. The controller has TMR sticks, magnetic swappable buttons, which let you change between Nintendo and Xbox configurations, swappable analog sticks with arcade sticks showing as options, extra customizable buttons on the top and back of the controller, as well as a charging dock that can detect when the controller is placed, as well as 2.4G support with a dongle hidden away. And you have a few different colors here. You have the old school like Nintendo scheme, Super NES scheme, PlayStation, and GameCube colors here. Price-wise, not too bad in my opinion, like $70 US. It's really not too brutal in my opinion. I think you're gonna be fine. A wireless with a dock and swappable buttons, good deal. What I really don't like is this extra button on top. Like it said in this news here, it has buttons on the back too, but those buttons here, like you have the normal bumper here, right? And then you have another bumper, smaller, just inside. Like, I don't know if that placement is really well done, but as long as you have extra buttons on the back, I think we are all right. What's that ugly? But it's pretty interesting. What? That's not ugly. What are you talking about? Like, look-wise, it's beautiful with those red noses on top. I like that. Design-wise, I like that, but not very practical. I don't think you're gonna... I don't think that's really practical. But yeah, that's only me. I should have waited with mine Pro wireless one, because that design I actually like a little bit more. My old one was the Duo, the Pro Duo, with cable wired. So this one would be the better replacement. But yeah, too late now, I guess. After flopping at the box office, it looks like once horror icon Megan is dead and buried as the sequel lands on digital just 3 weeks after the release. More money by Broom. Strangest looking sex toy I've ever seen. Are you trying to put that stuff in your butt, Broom? That's disgusting, man. Those membranes for the X, Y, B, and A buttons on those controllers were out fast. I had no problems with the membrane. Maybe on the original, you mean? Because the Pro Duo was like, I let it fall a lot. It was the cable that broke on mine. And it was not just a regular break, it was like a burned out. On those... Under the 8-bit, the SNES styled one, yeah, the 8-bit has a lot of ones, but those Pro are really sturdy otherwise. I have not been able to find replacements. They are low profile compared to other membranes. Big balls, meh. You don't like big balls, Ever Eden? Ever Eden confirmed lesbian, I guess. Buttons on the back for sliding jumping without taking right thumb off stick. Maybe. Yeah, it depends on the game, I guess. You can use those, but not my style. Bring back the NES Advantage. No, NES Advantage. I think the really old consoles have horrible controllers. Back in the days, the controller for NES and the Master System were very similar, right? For your children hands, perfect. The good size. In today's time, fuck those shitty controllers. And the Advantage was... no, I say no. Could be a double weapon. Rip to my girl, Megan! It looks like we horror fans can kiss horror icon Megan goodbye as her new sequel, Megan 2.0, has landed on digital not even 3 weeks after release. The doll broke the news herself on Twitter, X, writing, "They said this version of me was too much for theaters. Do with that what you will." The post also states that the movie will be available to buy on digital from July 15th. And will be out on 4K DVD and Blu-ray on September 23rd. Check out the post, blah, blah, blah. I watched the first one. The first one was okay. And at the end of the movie, they leave the door open for sequels, but I don't think anybody really asked for it, because the first one was not super successful. It had its success. It made a little bit money back for sure, but just no, man. It was not like this amazing. Oh, and it wasn't even horror. It was not horror. It had no horror feeling to me, the first one. So why call it horror in the first place? Weird, just weird. It was more like a sci-fi thriller with some horror elements. But yeah, the original Square controller is just asking to burn your thumbs off. They should sell the killer child robots to people. Yeah, why not? Solve the problem real fast. I mean, since we are on that topic, since Godzilla brought it up, because he wants probably like a real doll, a robot doll for himself. He doesn't want to deal with the women. In the future, that might be a real risk, meaning people buying just sex robots all over the place. Oh, ouch, my junk. Buying those sex robots, and those have software loaded on their hard drive. And software can be manipulated, especially because those things will be updatable, and the firmware needs to be updated, and new positions for your degeneracy there need to be uploaded. So it has access to the outside world, the worldwide interwebs, right? And somebody will hack that shit and just overwrite probably like the what are it called, the laws over the robotics, and who made those laws? I forgot. But you can overwrite those, and you will have in the future, at one point in the future, we will hear news about that some sex robot bit off or cut off some wieners because it was treated very badly, or it was just hacked. And yeah, I mean, you can make it happen that they target like pedos, PDFs, but the problem is you need to be very fucking sure, otherwise you're just killing people, innocent people, maybe. So I don't want to have that on my conscience. Oh, unfolding new AZ dating ad for Ike. He's silky smooth with that love to funnel a trigger every now and then again. He enjoys digging holes in the southwestern desert. He enjoys tombstone and puppies. Puppies? We haven't seen a lot of puppies. There was one puppy in Tombstone, yes. Also, again. We are coming to the end already. Yeah, I mean, I thought I had enough news, but it seems like I have not super many news. But let's dig into this one. It was like coming very late yesterday. I could have included it, I think, in yesterday's news, maybe. But yeah, here we are. I want to report a crime. BBC mocked for its wonky Nintendo setup. And that's what they showed in this retro show. A Super Nintendo with a NES cartridge on top. Thank you, Brew. I mean, you're saying it will smash whenever I want and won't ask when I'm going to finish building the gate for the front? Yeah, sure, but there's still this risk is gonna be hacked. And then it's gonna bitch around about you fixing the gate at the front, man. Are you wanna risk that? It's up to you. I'm not gonna buy one of those. I'm not gonna waste money. Actual industry news, not gay frat party. Ahoy, Articus. The UK Games Trade body has moved to explain a BBC Breakfast segment in which its CEO appeared alongside an erroneous retro games setup. UKEA CEO Professor Nick Poole, OBE, appeared on the British Morning Show, which has an average viewership of 6.5 million, to discuss the rising popularity of retro gaming in the UK. That is a fucking lot of views. Why don't I have those many views? That would push me in getting even more money. And yes, I forgot. Show you like the article. I don't need that much realism in my sex bots. Yeah, but just imagine if somebody hacks your bot and just to bitch around your relationship with it. That would be a bad time. However, what attracted the most attention on social media was the setup of the retro consoles the CEO brought along to the BBC. Notably, the display prominently featured a Super Nintendo with a NES cartridge for Super Mario Bros. Inserted into its game slot, somewhat undermining the retro credibility of the section. I would not say it undermined, and I think it's like just a funny accident. It's not like a major issue, really. It looks just funny. And back then, actually, Nintendo allured a little bit, like, yeah, the Super Nintendo might be backwards compatible, but it never came to fruition. We didn't even get like an adapter, which would made it able to play it. I don't know about the chips, if they were too different, like showing the 8-bit on the Super Nintendo. On the other hand, it had like the Game Boy adapter, the Super Game Boy for it, which made it very playable, everything pretty much. I think it would have been possible, but yeah, unfortunately it never happened. Following the broadcast, UKEI published an explanation for the mishap, claiming the wonky Nintendo setup was the fault of the BBC Breakfast studio team and not Poole. Yeah, I hope that the professor who brought that stuff knew a little bit better about all that stuff. For transparency, the studio team set up in the studio display in-depthly and handled the placement of the consoles. Unfortunately, we couldn't adjust it whilst on air, a spokesperson said. Why not? Why not? I think it would be okay. People just seeing for a very brief moment somebody coming in and just putting it on the table, the cartridge itself. I think it would not have been a big deal. Now it's probably a bigger deal. More people are making fun of you, you know? Yeah. What is better? What is better really here? You tell me. However, where was I? However, many social media users criticized the mishap. I want to report a crime, wrote one on social media user who shared an image of the offending retro setup. I bet they tried to cram it into the Wii first, added another. The erroneous setup attracted similar ire from the members of the games industry on LinkedIn. It made my hair stand up, wrote Amazon Web Services Chris Melisinos. I know that UKEI didn't assemble the asset, but it does speak to the broader point that there is still a fundamental misunderstanding of video games in the general public. Maybe somebody in the studio just didn't pay attention at all, had no time, was like in a hurry because his boss, his manager there was like making him nervous more and more. You have to do it quickly. In 5 minutes we are on air. Go do it, whatever. It can't happen, man. It happens all the time. Just little mishaps. The BBC segment was intended to highlight the rising popularity of retro gaming in the UK. The UK has a 7.82 billion video games market, with retro titles playing a growing role in physical game sale and game cultures events, according to UKEI. UKIE, damn. As Nick shared on the program, it's no surprise that all the titles and classic consoles are back in demand. It said, retro gaming taps into powerful sense of nostalgia and community, offering players a way to reconnect with their past and share the games they loved with a new generation. Yeah, and you just plug it in and do the power, and it works, and you can play it. You don't need to update, don't need to wait to connect to the web and all that shit. How about more of that? Because believe it or not, people don't necessarily need that retro feeling. Many games in retro are really nice and all that, and you can replay them over and over again. But what many of us really want is just to play, just to insert maybe the CD, just take the time maybe for the loading itself from the CD and then just play. That's what we really want as gamers. Not necessarily only retro more and more, but just playing without any crap around systems, internet connection, live services, and all that nonsense. Nobody really asks for that, not in every game at least. Many popular modern titles take direct inspiration from retro games, proving the past continues to shape the future of play. From iconic arcade cabinets to cherished home consoles, retro gaming is now a thriving part of the UK's creative economy, preserving culture, heritage, driving community events, and inspiring next generations of creators. Yeah, it can, for sure. And I love my retro on a daily basis, but it's not the retro part that really is that the important thing here. Yeah, they should have. I would have helped SNES sales. With an adapter, you mean? No subscription service BS, for sure. No DEI. Yeah. The pendulum is swinging the other way now. We are not there yet on the other side, but hopefully we get less DEI in the next 5 years or so. Who knows? And last little news for today, everybody. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to Apple Macs this week. CD Projekt Red and Apple has announced that Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition is coming to the Apple Mac in this week. It'll be available on Mac App Store, GOG, Steam, and the Epic Game Store. And those that own the game on the latter three platforms will get access to the games on Macs too. Meaning, if you already own it now on GOG or Epic or Steam, you can play it on your Mac already when it's going to be released officially. Which is cool, huh? The Ultimate Edition includes the Phantom Liberty expansion and will run on any Mac with Apple Silicon and 16GB of memory. The game has been customized for Apple Silicon model so that it can run to its full potential. The entire experience will be the same as it is on all other platforms, with cross-save, even including the latest 2.3 patch that introduces a new photo mode, additional cars, and more. And down here we have a whole list about the technical addition to the Mac, especially the HDR. They tuned it with the Mac, because MacBooks, they have like good displays, especially the newer ones, right? So you can enjoy all the goodness, the brightness, and all that stuff. Ball of tennis. That's no breaking news, though. Is that breaking news? Breaking news! You're gay. Why are you gay? Thank you for the 5, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, you can have the whole list here. As usual, as always, down in the video description, all the links to every article, and you can read it for yourself. If you own a Mac, if you have the game in your library, hell, for free you get like the native experience here. I'm wondering how well it really runs on a Mac with an M4 chip. I really wonder. I had a Mac with the M1 chip, I think. It was a beast. It was actually a beast when it was released. Apple, I have to give that to them. They know how to do hardware sometimes. They have their ecosystem very tied in. You can't like go outside of that ecosystem a lot with anything besides their store and all that. But they know how to do a real good shit, man. $20 is $20. 20? What 20? Apple, Nvidia. Haste is an Apple fanboy. Haste is an Apple fanboy. He's also a Microsoft fanboy. He would love if Microsoft and Apple merges into Maple or some shit. Or Mipple. Mipple. Microsoft, Apple, Mipple. He would love himself some nipples. I like freedom too much to like Apple. Oh yeah. I mean, depends on what you do actually. I bought it just to test it out back 21. I gave it away to a rumbler. I'm not gonna tell to whom. It's good hardware though. It really worked well. Like I could do anything I want with it, besides gaming for the most part. But like video editing, very snappy and all that. It was really working super well. So I liked it just from the perspective of performance. It was top notch, and the newer chips are even more powerful. They draw a little bit more electricity, but that's, I mean, I guess a given. But yeah, they are just nice to work with. Nice to work with. That's all I can say. I would like an Apple, PlayStation, Xbox Max. No, thank you. I admit some of their hardware is well built. I also don't buy Apple products. I mean, I will never buy a phone. I tried to buy once a phone and gave it back on the same day or the next day. I was not pleased with the phone. That can boot Linux boot. But it is locked down, usually very hard to work on. Yeah. Yeah, it has its downs and ups, like everything in life. But if you want a working station, if you want just to do like web searches, video documents, documenting stuff, working with office crap and all that, video editing, photo editing, it's a beast, man. If you need to game, yeah, you are lost on Mac still. I use macOS for work. It's great, no nonsense system. Their upgrades are ridiculous priced. Yes. That's my main issue with them. They really take advantage of the customers by just adding insane prices just because of storage itself. Like a third of the price goes up if you double the storage on certain systems. That is really stupid. I agree. But that said, everybody, has anybody else to say something? We have about 5 minutes. We can just chit chat here and take our time to blame everybody for the others' gays and shit. Same stick of RAM from them cost 4 times. You can't buy sticks anymore, so you're not enough educated there in this field. The RAM and the storage, the regular storage, is all built in. It's all soldered in on those newer systems. So no sticks. And they are way faster though, because they have like direct connection. I mean, the storage, you could make it swappable. You know, the SSD storage, you could make it swappable. On the other side, because it has such a big bandwidth, it manages pretty well to do the graphical stuff, like way quicker than on any other PC system. So you can't compare it really though, like with sticks on a PC. You really can't these days. they tied in that especially the RAM directly on the chiplet of the CPU, GPU. It is what it is, though. macOS is the only commercial alternative to Windows. Yeah, that was actually always the case since Windows was around. I don't remember any other system that was like commercially like feasible and reliable for workstations or consumers. So yeah, that is now the case since 40 years or something like that, almost. I can build a PC that can do everything a Mac can for a fraction of the cost. I wouldn't be so sure about that, though. Storage-wise, yes. Performance-wise, no. Not with these prices of GPUs today, Godzilla. You have to check that again to adjust your statement there. Unfortunately, that's not the case really, because the Apple Silicon is really performant. There used to be HP Solaris, Fujitsu, Unix. Yeah, but that never took off. That never really took off. And ad-free. What you have to pay for GPUs today, it's a bad comparison. You can't compare it really, unfortunately. Yeah, but that said, everybody, thank you for the rants there, Brew and Ball of Tennis. Much appreciated. You're gonna go on the list higher. I mean, not Brew, because he's already pretty high. He needs to pay way more to get higher than somebody else. But yes, it is getting worse with GPUs, yes. No, it is already worse. It is already worse. You have to check it with probably the best example would be with GPU performance in AI, what you can do with AI with the same software and all that. And yeah, you have to pay like, we are talking here about prices only for the GPU, $900 and above, only for the GPU on a PC system, which you could just avoid if you get on an Apple system, on a Mac OS Apple system. Get the lower configuration with a storage, and you're already cheaper. You can buy an external hard drive if storage is needed later on. Trust me or trust me not, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to buy Apple. I'm not saying I'm going to buy Apple anytime soon, but they have good performance. I thank everybody for being around. I hope you have a great rest of your day, which is, what is it today? I forgot. Wednesday? No, Tuesday. Why did I thought it was Wednesday? I don't know. I don't care. It's all right. Time is an illusion anyway. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. And till tomorrow, 10 a.m., like every day, Monday through Friday, here on this channel, Switzerland Play It, Rumble, YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. I wish I would be on all platforms, big, getting all the monies, but I enjoy if I have the chat working, by the way. Thank you for that. Bye-bye.
Black girl magic!